So we're picking up from the end of the previous chapter, and we're seeing Saitama, Flashy Flash, and Monako being dropped off by Blast, who is obviously MIA here. The last time we saw him, he said something like, and I'm paraphrasing, but tell Tatsumaki and Sitch I said hi, or something like that, which was implying that he wasn't going to be showing up. And by the way, I'm sorry if me not having a hat is triggering anybody. I was just having like a headache this morning. I know, I need a haircut, but I'm in the middle of a lot of stuff IRL right now, so haircut is on the back burner. But we see like Saitama and Flashy Flash surveying the battlefield, seeing all of like the defeated and some even dismembered S-class heroes, and they've come to the conclusion that everybody was defeated. I mean, not literally everyone, but pretty much. But also an important thing to point out here is the moon looking down on them in the back. We established this 2 chapters back, or at least I thought that maybe this was just a metaphor for God is always watching, which he clearly is, or at least this battle in particular. And that's going to be pretty important for what's going to be happening at the end of this chapter, which I have a few theories on, but we'll come to it when we do. But anyway, we're coming to Saitama and Garo reuniting and facing off finally. But no, it's a nice little swerve, and we see Saitama going over to Genos, who is just a torso at this point. And he's basically catching Saitama up to speed on what was going on and what had actually just happened with King and the ultimate wave motion cannon. And that being said, we know that it's Garo who was responsible for taking those said cadres out. And Genos says, I could feel the same ultra high energy of King's ultimate move coming from that monster. So this is a nice little way of Genos, who is obviously oblivious to what's going on with King, conveying to Saitama himself and the audience. That guy over there is really powerful because he kind of has a similar energy signature to King, who is considered the one above all, pretty much. But first, this video is sponsored by Extra Wallet. So that's right, guys, it is Christmas time again, which means we have to get gifts for the people that we care the most about. So why not a super premium smart wallet? That's because Extra is running a Christmas sale right now with 25% off of all orders, and orders that are $200 or more get 35% off and a free gift bag. I love these things so much that I have like a collection, and with that luxury I can pick and choose which wallet I want to specifically use on that day. And typically I use the aluminum version because it's amazing and sturdy, but for special occasions I'll bust out the Parliament, which is very luxurious. So guys, if you're essentially looking for the ultimate Christmas gift, check out Extra Wallet's Christmas sale, because like I said, it's up to 35% off site-wide. Check the link in the description, guys. Thanks again. But anyway, we're coming to Garo, who can finally talk now, and we're hearing like his inner monologue, and he's like saying, what happened to me? Not mention this body. Like he's unaware of like the monster coding and the fight that had just happened with him and Silverfang, because he went back into that monster feral state that we saw him go against Darkshine initially. And it was actually at the end of his fight with Darkshine, when he was like being carried away by Tatsumaki, when this transformation undertaking started to occur. And I like the way that one is conveying like what was going on in his mind or subconsciousness at that time when he was fighting Bang. Bang's words were getting through to him, kind of like, you know, like in shows when people are like talking to a dreaming person and then like the dreams are influenced by what the person is actually saying to them. Pretty much same thing happening here, because he's dreaming about his past of training with Bang, and like his mind is replaying those memories because Bang had already said those things to him that he said a couple chapters back. So very well done by one here. Then out of nowhere, Flashy Flash comes in and tries to take Garo's head off, but he avoids it at the last second. And then they both acknowledge each other for the first time, I'm pretty sure, which is amazing. And it's understandable that Flashy Flash would think that Garo is the Monster King, because they've been hyped up about the Monster King for like almost 2 years now by Monako. Hey, Zhoniin from the future here. I just wanted to say that this Monako bringing up the Monster King and Saitama and Flashy Flash, you know, being intrigued by it, makes me think that what I talk about at the end of the video with Orochi coming back seems more likely than ever now, because, you know, if he just shows up, that would give a perfect opportunity for Monako to be like, oh my god, it's Monster King Orochi. And then Flashy Flash and Saitama would be like, oh, that's the Monster King? And then, you know, after Garo defeats him, then he could be like, you know, I'm the new king. But no, Garo lets them know that, no, I'm not in that club. I'm not a hero either. I'm kind of doing my own thing. And both good and evil are going to bow down to me. You got it? But if that wasn't enough, we're getting another out of nowhere moment where Platinum S comes back into the scene and does the iconic webcomic moment, allow me to pass through for a moment. But in the manga's iteration, he's doing it to Flashy Flash and Garo. I just want to put this buzzword out there right now because I think it perfectly describes what One and Murata have been doing with this series as of late, and it's hot shot booking. But I'll talk more about that at the end, because that's when it comes in the most. But originally in the webcomic, Golden S, not even Platinum, remember, he's like a new thing to the manga. He did this sequence like the Raging Demon type move, and afterwards saying, allow me to pass through for a moment. He did that to Tatsumaki originally, who is obviously knocked out right now in the manga's continuity. Then we get another crazy unexpected twist in this chapter where instead of Garo facing off against Platinum S by himself, which is at least what I thought, and I'm assuming a lot did, it's now going to be a triple threat match between Flashy Flash, Garo, and Platinum S. And they go on to have this incredible sequence that I'll get to, but we're coming to another incredible sequence, but for a different reason, where Saitama is talking to King and Genos, and King is like hyping up Genos after trying to, save face in front of him. Also, Tatsumaki is being tended to here in case any of you are worried about her. Simps. But Genos basically says to Saitama that he had the opportunity to self-destruct, but he wasn't able to do it, and thinks that he hasn't become stronger because of that. Saitama kind of reminds me of Michael Scott in this instance, where he acts oblivious, but then drops some profound wisdom on Genos that is probably going to alter him for the rest of the series. Touches his heart, and he says that means this part here got stronger too, doesn't it? Meaning like, his morality, his heart, his humanity, his conscience. But also, just for no reason, it's this incredible colored double spread, just like we got 2 updates back with the God stuff. Maybe not as intimidating as the other one, but this is certainly in the same tier of excellence for sure. Murata should be selling like NFTs at this point, but he doesn't really even have to. And also, this is kind of like One and Murata, like telling the animation studio that's going to animate this scene in 10 years, this is how we want this scene. The camera's going to be looking at this perspective, up from them, Saitama looking down on Genos, touching him, and then in the background, we're going to have the crazy Dragon Ball Z geometry fight in the sky. Wow. But speaking of the Dragon Ball Z geometry fight, the world is actually able to see that because there is like a news chopper out there still for some reason filming this stuff. I get it, it has to be filmed. There has to be a reason why Suiryu and the rest of the characters that are going to be watching this battle, because it's going to be influencing the events of the next arc. Yes, there's going to be a next arc, in case you were wondering. This is not the end of the series. The next arc is probably going to be even longer than this one, believe it or not. But we're seeing what's like actually happening in the geometry real time, and we're seeing Flashy Flash going head to head with Platinum S here, which is surprising because Flashy Flash is obviously strong. I've hyped him up literally for years now, and I've always put him in the top of the S class. You would have asked me like yesterday if he could have went head to head with Platinum S, I probably would have said no. I would have said something like he could maybe hold his own for a little bit, but it would be unlikely that he would eventually amount any kind of substantial offense. That's not the case. He's way more powerful than even I thought. Or Platinum S was just weaker than I thought. Then again, Flashy Flash did kill 2 dragons at once, and they weren't pushovers like Bakusan or something. In fact, they probably would have taken out Bakusan with the quickness if they would have fought. Another thing about Flashy Flash that Platinum S is actually bringing up here is he's lost his main weapon, which is his sword. That's how he killed those 2 dragons at once. And the fact that he's still holding his own here in this crazy, I guess, above dragon triple threat match? I'm not saying Flashy Flash is, but Garo and Platinum S have gotta be pushing it, if not on the level right now, right? It's getting real weird and blurry with the above dragon stuff. By the way, I'm about to retcon the name of that. I've got a video coming out eventually. I don't know when I'm gonna make it. But the term above dragon is getting retconned to what it should have been called this whole time. But I'll explain more later. So subscribe. But then Garo cracks Platinum S in the face and says that he feels that he's getting close to perfecting his own technique. He lists out all the techniques that he's absorbed through battle, and he's fusing all of these abilities and techniques and nuances and intricacies together into the Monster Calamity Godslayer Fist. This is like essentially how MMA came to be. Or at least how Georges St. Pierre developed the blueprint for all modern fighters to adapt. But yeah, this is from the webcomic for sure, but I was not expecting Garo to be using it right now. And this makes me think that we really haven't seen anything yet. Because I guess One and Murata are going to do some really crazy stuff here as to where we're going to be jumping the shark in this series yet again. It's already jumped the shark like twice. But he like annihilates Platinum S and Flashy Flash with the Godslayer fist here. Oh my god, he's not even like at his full power. But anyway, remember talking about the moon watching them? Well, we're seeing the moon again, watching the geometry, and then we're going down into the pit of despair made by the Tatsumaki drill, and we're going back to the God mural, but now there's like this goopy trail leading to the altar coming from the drill where Tatsumaki seemingly killed Orochi, but he's not dead, I guess, because that's like Orochi goop, right? I mean, it's leading straight to the drill. So it looks like Orochi is like full-blown Boo status right now. I'm assuming most people watching this video watched all of Dragon Ball Z at some point in their lives. So if you remember, after Vegeta did the final explosion, there was only like little bits of Boo left, and then like Piccolo and Goten and them came in and like individually zapped all of them, and still that wasn't enough. Pretty much the same thing going on right here. But then we see this shadow of what appears to be one of two things in front of the God altar mural here. It could either be Orochi's tail, because that's what his tail looks like. I mean, you can even see it on the mural itself, or it's a second Elder Centipede. And you're thinking, what? Why would there be a second Elder Centipede? Now, hear me out. Because back around like the chapter 99, 100 stuff, when Child Emperor is like punching Phoenix Man, the walls behind him like gets lit up, and we see this mural of like the Subterranean King, and there's like two Elder Centipedes around him, or what appear to be Elder Centipede. At this point, it could be two Orochi tails for all we know. But either way, I'm thinking this means that Garo, yes, Garo is about to fight either Orochi or Elder Centipede. I know it's crazy, but it takes me back to the Hot Shot booking, which means that they're kind of just doing whatever they want right now and not caring about the repercussions. Or at least that's just how it seems to me, because we're having this crazy triple threat match right now. Flashy Flash is suddenly on the level of Platinum S. Garo is doing the Godslayer fist, destroying them both. But now we have a possible Orochi coming back for a rematch for Garo to have his Shonen redemption, because remember, he lost to Orochi cleanly in chapter 92. So since God has been observing this fight, he probably sees Garo as a worthy vessel. He placed on the altar so that he may return, because that's what it says on there. So now he's bringing Orochi back, and Orochi's gonna go up to get Garo to bring him down to the altar. But obviously Garo's not gonna play that, so then he's gonna get his rematch / revenge against Orochi. But Orochi's gonna be so powerful, even more powerful than Flashy Flash and Platinum S, maybe even combined. And he's going to push Garo to possibly losing his humanity and achieving his final form. That's what I'm thinking is going to happen here. Evil Natural Water is in the ocean now? This is happening to Hot Shot booking, baby. Mwah! And don't be worried about that term. It doesn't mean that it's going to like fail, because it doesn't always mean that. Sometimes Hot Shot booking just works out and there's no repercussions, and I'm assuming One and Murata are just gonna pull it off effortlessly here. I feel bad for the anime studio that's gonna animate this in 13.5 years, but whatever, that we'll come to that problem when we come to it. But for years, people have been asking me, what would happen if Evil Natural Water went to the ocean? Well, this is what would happen. He would get giant eyeballs for some reason. But what's going to happen after this point? Well, you already heard what I was gonna say about Orochi versus Garo, but who's gonna take on this massive super kaiju Evil Natural Water ocean thing? Well, who do you think? Anyway, that's pretty much it for the video today, guys. Let me know what you think about this chapter in the comments. I'm not gonna make any promises here, but I'll just say don't be surprised if we wind up getting another chapter on Christmas Eve. But if you like the video, guys, please give it a like. And please subscribe if you haven't already. Have a great day. I'll see you in the next one.